Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Extra Lab podcast. Today, we are lucky enough to have with us Washington commit Martin Barco. Martin, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So, Martin, you did a double at nationals, which is a lot of effort. Can you bring us through that? Like, what is it like doing a double at nationals?
Yeah, I kind of signed up 3 months previous. I reached out to the kind of navigator of the whole race itself.
Mhm,
And I proposed doing a double and they said it was totally fine. So Friday night I ran the 1600 meter in the fast heat,
mhm,
and that was a crazy race because they at these big meets they'll give you a time where
mhm,
you're going to start the race, but you can never really count on that time being when they're actually going to start the race.
mhm.
But I didn't know that, so I ate like my Subway sandwich, took some caffeine, ready to start the race, and then it was delayed 2 hours.
Oh, yikes.
So so we had to deal with that little bump in the road. But the first race went well, and then the next morning I had the 800, and I got a PR. So I say it was a pretty good weekend in general. Yeah.
Definitely. And like, wasn't it a New Balance? Wasn't there a storm or something that just delayed everything by a little bit?
Yeah. There was a huge rainstorm the day, I think Friday, during the day before my race, because my race was at night. But my sister had to deal with that a little bit, so it
Oh,
it
yikes.
affected it affected everyone.
Definitely. And this is a weird question to start it off with too, but what sport would you do outside of running if it wasn't for running?
Outside of running, so I actually just started running. I've played soccer my whole life, and I
Oh,
still play soccer. Yeah. So well, I mean, we finished high school season, so now I'm done with soccer
mhm.
as of now. But yeah, I played soccer my whole life. And I really just got started into running my sophomore year of high school.
Oh,
And didn't really start training until my junior year of track. So yeah, definitely soccer. If it wasn't running, it would be soccer.
definitely. And like, so you started your sophomore year, and last year is your first real year of training. So like, last year you made nationals. You came in fifth at New Balance, correct? In the mile.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's not a bad way to open up your track career. By
Not
place.
not a bad way at all. No, no, really
Oh,
not a
that's
bad
that's
way.
kind of crazy actually. So, what is it like? What is your goals for the upcoming track season coming off that?
I'd really like to go sub 4. I mean, I think
Real.
I think that's I think that's I'm sure Marcus Riley will say the same thing
Yeah.
when you have him on here. But I mean I really that's my main goal. I really want to go sub 4, and
Mhm.
I'd also like to attempt like the 100 and 200 meter.
Oh yeah.
That sounds crazy, but
No,
I'd like to try that. But going sub 4 for sure.
definitely. Like as someone who runs mid distance, like mostly on a small team, I always am just wondering what I could even bring out a 200 and 100. And you probably feel like the same way, mostly as an 800 guy. So, as an 800 guy, how does that translate to the mile, would you say?
Yeah, I think the difference between even going deeper into it and saying the difference between cross country and track,
Mhm.
cross country is more about how much pain you can endure and
Mhm.
how good you can get cardiovascularly fit. When
Mhm.
you're talking about the 800 and the mile, I think you also have to be a good athlete on top of that. So you have to have natural speed to be able to run in the 800.
Mhm.
And if you can do the 800 well, you can build off that. You can go up and be a world class 5K guy,
Mhm.
but if you don't have the speed, um, to be able to run, the 800 at an elite pace, then I think that's where people kind of shift to be more of cross country guys.
Mhm.
Um, that at least that's the way I've looked at it. So I think that they complement each other. If you can be fast at the 800, you can be fast at the mile. If you can be fast at the mile, you can be fast at the 5K. So
Yeah,
I think they all kind of build off of each other.
definitely. And you said earlier that you're a soccer player and you ran cross country this year. So how does that work? Like just doing two sports? Like, that just must be low key ridiculous
Oh,
balancing.
dude, it's a lot of work. I played soccer. So in Indiana, how it works is soccer season and cross country season, they're like the same time of year. It's both in the fall.
Mm.
So I'll go to the soccer game, and then the next day I'll have a cross country race, which
Oh,
is really crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm just lucky that I didn't get injured
mhm,
doing it. But I played soccer my whole life, as I said, and I
mhm.
thought I had to give something back to the community and play both.
Yeah, definitely. Like in Rhode Island, at least someone I know, shout out Blake Santos, he did hockey and indoor at the same time. So he would go from doing a big hockey game the night before to like a race the next day. And that just like both soccer and hockey are very cardiovascular, are circulated too, though. So I guess it translates well, but it just must be brutal going from a game to a meet.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean your legs are just toast. It's
yeah.
it's not a good feeling, but it's still fun to be out there with the team, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Mostly, I'm gonna guess you came up a soccer player too, so just sticking out with your boys must be
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know all those guys, love them to death. So it was one of those things.
definitely. And have you ever done a particular workout where it just showed the level of fitness you had, where you're like, I'm just in good shape right now?
So funny you say that, because the way it's always worked with me is, my dad would always help build my workouts.
Yeah.
Um, and so last year, I told my dad, I came up to him, I said, look, I want to be great. I want to run in college. Can you get me to that level? And he's like, yeah, I think I can. So he developed some workouts, and one of those workouts we did was 5 by 1,600 meters
Oh,
at
no.
450 pace with 1 minute rest in between.
Mhm.
And I didn't hit the times at all. Like I wasn't even close. But I can remember that just completing that workout, it gave me so much confidence going into the rest of the track season that
Mhm.
that's really what built me into the runner I am today, are those kind of workouts.
Definitely. And when did you like? What got you into running since you started a little later?
Oh, so I what really happened is when I was in eighth grade, I didn't run track. Obviously, I didn't start that till sophomore year. But
Mhm.
when I was in eighth grade, my crush in school, she was on the cross country team. So I was like, I gotta run a little bit, and maybe shoot my shot and hang out a little bit. So I joined the cross country team, and I would sprint, like the gun would go off, and I'd sprint ahead. I'd get tired,
Yeah.
and I'd stop, and I'd wait for everyone else to catch back up. And
Mhm.
then once the next guy got to me, I'd sprint again,
Mhm.
stop, and wait for people to catch back up. So yeah, I mean, if you want to call that running, you can. I wouldn't really. I'd say I was just doing it for fun. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what got me into running. And then my freshman year of high school, I went to a military academy
Mhm.
down in Georgia. So it was like a boarding school, and they didn't have a cross country team. So I didn't run, and then got back into it once I moved back to Indiana.
Definitely. That I gotta say that's probably the weirdest way to get in running I've heard thus far.
Oh yeah, man.
Also, the strategy, the like sprinting and stopping, like I've always been asked if I've ever seen someone do that, and I don't know if I've ever seen it. That's
Yeah,
a move right there.
I will say it worked in middle school. It did work in middle. I mean, I won a few races back in the day. Shout out Ryan Ream.
That's that's kind of crazy. Like, okay, that's gonna be the sub 4 minute mile attempt right there. Run the
Oh, that I don't know if it'll work in a mile, but
yeah.
5K it should.
Well, as someone who has a goal of breaking that sub 4 barrier, which is just a monumental barrier, what's like the mindset behind that?
It's just it's just competing. Every day. I think the worst thing a runner can do that's driven is check social media all the time and see when other people are running these fast times, because that'll just put you in the wrong mindset. And you really need to just focus on yourself. And that's kind of what I've done. Mental health for me has been the biggest thing that I could work on to help me running faster.
Mhm.
I think even more so than training. Just being in the right mindset, and telling myself that I'm going to go out here and win the race because I'm the most fit and I'm the fastest. I think that's the mindset that I have to have going into any race, no matter if I'm racing, the best in the nation or
Mhm.
people that I've beat before. It doesn't matter.
Definitely. And just having that confidence in yourself, like just not worrying about anyone. Because at the end of the day, all you can do is compete, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
like 100% one day may be different than 100% the next day. So you just got to go out there.
Yep, yep, exactly.
So you're sitting there before a national meet, like a big race. You're locking in. What's the go-to song?
Go-to song for me. Oh, I thought about this. I thought about this. I gotta say Chariots of Fire. It's gotta
Oh,
be Chariots of Fire.
word.
I mean, you gotta keep it classic.
That's that's real.
Yeah.
And as you know, we put on a story for people to ask you some questions, and as always, they came through. So the first question someone asked you was, "What is it like knowing you have so many great milers at Washington?" That's a good one.
It's the
Like,
best feeling ever. It's the best feeling ever. I went on my visit, and it was actually one of the last visits I took. I didn't take many visits, but it was I think the second to last visit I took. And I remember getting there, and the first day we walked into the team locker room,
mhm.
and I look up, and there's two NCAA 1500-meter champions
Oh
just
yeah, I was
standing
just
right
gonna
there.
say Nathan Green and Wascom.
Nathan Green and Joe Wascom. I mean, best guys ever. Not only in running, but just their personality was great. And they were really talkative, and I was just like, that's where I want to be in 4 years. Like, I want to be standing where they're standing in 4 years. And if they've done it here, I can do it here too.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was kind of what I thought. And just the coach, Coach Andy Powell. I think he's the best coach in the nation at coaching 1500-meter runners. Just I that's my belief. And I think that as driven as I am, being under his coaching and being with other athletes that are very fast is gonna skyrocket my success.
yeah, definitely. Like I was listening to another podcast and last year, and it was after like a million dudes on Washington went 352 in the mile, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. Because then they're talking about the redshirt athletes too, and they're all going under 4, and it was
Yeah,
just Washington just has such a great program for the milers, and
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
I'm super stoked. And I mean, another funny thing that happened is, I was running out there and we would do a run with the team.
mhm,
And I look up and on my left is Sam Prakel,
mhm.
who's a Adidas runner, runs for Adidas. And he was just running there next to me. I mean, this guy's run against Jakob Ingebrigtsen before.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is crazy. These guys train with pros
Mhm.
every day, in training. This is the place
This
that,
is where you gotta be to get there.
this is the place for me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And one asked you was, what's your best event?
I think at the moment it's the
Mhm,
mile for sure. And I'd like to keep it that way. But I've also I ran the 3200 once really against competition.
mhm,
And I went sub 9. So I was very happy with that as a first time trial in the 3200.
mhm.
So I think that we'll do it again this year. And see if I can see how good I can get in that event. It's a possibility.
Definitely. And what's the average week of running look like for you?
Average week of running for me is really low at the moment. I think I'm doing 40 to 45
Mhm,
weekly, which is not much at all. I mean, cross country season we were like 50, 55. So very little. But the thing is with me, I don't really have anyone to run with
mhm,
in my area. Not too many people to run with because my most of my cross country team is freshmen.
mhm.
And they're pretty new to running. I mean, they're great people. It's pretty new to running. So I think that it's hard, running by myself on long runs and stuff like that. But once I get to college, that'll be a lot easier to
Yeah,
ascertain.
definitely. And once again, you're going to a great mile program at Washington, so you must just be looking forward to having great people every workout, every day, just to get you to that next level. And do you have any goals outside after college with running, or is it a little too?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would obviously like to keep running after college. We'll see how things go. I don't want to say something that I can't do, but I think it's very plausible that I'll be able to run after college for sure.
Final question someone asked was, how do you get through the low moments of running?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think getting through the low moments of running. I think the best way to do that, or at least what I've done and learned to do, is probably just, be a goldfish. Goldfish, something happens and they forget it in 2 seconds. So that's something that my soccer coach always told me. If you're in a game and you make a mistake, you gotta forget it, like just like that. It's got to be super fast, out of your mind. Otherwise, you're gonna dwell on that. So, but I do think that there's something to be said for learning from your mistakes. So you gotta take into account what happened, make the change, and then fix it. But you can't just dwell on those mistakes forever. Otherwise, you're never gonna get anything done.
Definitely. Well, Martin, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. You're a great guest to have, and good luck with your upcoming seasons.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Perfect. Till our next lap, everyone. See ya.